Ascutney Board to order on this Monday, August 11th, 2025 at 6:34 p.m. First off, any changes or additions to today's agenda? All right. Hearing none, we will move on to item 3, which is approval of the minutes. And that is the minutes from May 5th, 2025, and our retreat, June 16th, 2025. Let me just see if we need to do 2 separate motions. I think, does everybody vote for those?
The retreat one has nothing on it, actually. It just says we had a retreat.
Okay, I will do them separately.
Yeah, I prefer it if you do it separately because I did not attend the retreat.
Are you ready to go?
Yep, will do. So I will, first I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from our May 5th, 2025 school board meeting.
So moved, Elizabeth.
Oh, and second.
All right, Elizabeth and Nancy. Any comment? Any discussion? All right, so I will take a voice vote to approve those minutes. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 All right, those opposed? Abstentions? All right, cool, unanimous. Those are approved, thank you. Next, I will take a motion to approve the minutes from our June 16th retreat.
So moved.
Oh, good.
So Nancy got the motion, anybody second?
Okay.
Second.
Bill's got a second, all right. All right,
Another rotation.
any discussion? All right, hearing none, I will take a voice vote to approve those minutes. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye or both. Aye.
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 All right. Opposed? And abstentions?
I abstain.
Elizabeth abstains. All right, so 1 abstention, and those are approved. Okay. Moving on. Should be full up. All these. Keep it close up. All right, so we are moving on to item 4, which is public comment on non-agenda items or announcements. Public comment is not legally required, but we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns over issues. Through these meetings, our board models for our students how to conduct public discourse, and the board and members of our community can approach controversial issues in a civil and constructive manner and can demonstrate mutual respect. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed for discussion. Please start by identifying yourself and what town you reside in and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. All right, any public comment or announcements? Justin.
Hi, my name is Justin Burrows, West Windsor, 2 kids in the school system. I was complaining to my partner who directed me to a more proper venue, which would be this, to just briefly talk about the challenges of being able to fully understand the role of PowerSchool versus Google Classroom, and there being certain like data artifacts, especially in PowerSchool, that are confusing for parents. I want to best support my children. I'm not really sure, like, for example, we don't have grades per se, but we have, certain levels of competency that we need to get in certain skills. It's not clear to the parents necessarily in terms of like what is, and again, we have 2 different perspectives. There are different paradigms that we all grew up with in terms of what is failing, what is or needs help, and then what's excellent. And this can be especially daunting whenever you get feedback, for example, from the educator saying that your child is failing this class or needs support in these particular areas. And so just two things I wanted to give to you guys as you go into like, further discussions and retreats and stuff like that. How it might be made easier for the parents and the students to be able to use the tools of PowerSchool and Google Classrooms in terms of the actual like holistic support for the student. And also what's meaningful and what's not. Like my PowerSchool right now says that one of my kids has a 92 GPA. I don't know what that means, or if that means like anything. And that there might be, call it remedial, call it educational resources for parents who want to engage in these like technical support platforms in a meaningful way and like get an idea of what's actually being used by the teachers so we can, help participate. I know we're trying to get our kids to develop, responsibility for their, for their own assignments and for their own tasks. It would just make it easier for parents if we kind of had a clear idea of how we can integrate with those. And I know, just as a slight sidebar, like with Google Classroom can be a little bit tricky because you have to get like a certain extra permission like at the beginning of the year. And that could be difficult, especially, when there's an app form, there's a web-based form, there's like a downloadable, application. And so I think that parents could probably use some support and clarity about like what's actually a meaningful metric for our students.
All right, thank you, Justin. Just kind of going off that, as we go into the school year, are there any planned kind of onboarding sessions or info sessions planned around those platforms or tools that we can direct Justin and other parents to?
There are some videos, so I believe they're on the website, but I'll make sure. I'll talk to Ryan, who's the one who usually does the videos.
Okay.
And see what's out there.
I wonder if maybe, because admittedly, not being a parent here, these are platforms that I personally don't interact with much, and it might actually be beneficial for to plan for the next agenda just to do a presentation about what Classroom and PowerSchool look like, so that the board can have a little bit more understanding, and parents who are tuning in might also be able to address some of those questions and have them answered. I think that is, we want to make sure that.
Yeah, we're going to be rolling out SCORE in the high school. And I'm going to talk about later, but this is the appropriate time to talk about it.
Sure, yeah.
So that's going to be a program that goes out to the high school students, that's interactive for the students, the parents, and the counselors, and it streamlines the postgraduate, particularly college application plans. With letters of recommendations, financial calculators, and all three entities are able to interact through that. So we are going to be doing something about some kind of night for parents on that, so it wouldn't be hard to add in the Google Classroom PowerSchool part.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be a great kind of add on to that. So yeah, let's, if that can be part of that, and then I think, just maybe at next meeting, if it's not too packed, I think we should plan on just having some kind of overview of those things, level set on that. And if you, those videos, if you can just pick those to.
Yeah, I'll look at it tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Thank you. Two things totally unrelated. One is if you could direct comments to the owl picks up the sound better.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
And secondly,
Yeah.
That means the fans and the page close for them.
We have like a 5. It's right there. Should be.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, Elizabeth.
Is that better?
We're moving the microphone.
okay.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, I couldn't really hear what Kate said necessarily.
You want to repeat it, Kate? Nice and loud.
Sure. I said I was going to talk later on in the night, but it seemed appropriate to talk about now that the high school is introducing SCORE this year, SCOIR, which is an online platform that streamlines the college application process. Students are able to access it, parents are able to access it, and counselors are able to access it. And a lot of the area schools use it. Bill, I don't know if Hartford uses it or not, but we were going to be rolling that out. We were going to have a night to talk about that. So I said it would be easy to just bring in the PowerSchool and the Google Classroom on that night.
Excellent, thank you. the question still kind of remains, and maybe you could just simply answer it. What is the deal with the score at the top of Power School that tells you what your GPA score is when it seems it's based on 100 out of 100 when we don't really do that, or
So
theoretically we don't.
No, and it's all changing because that's what we worked with on this with the state this year is pulling out like this year our students are going to be scored on the performance indicators, which was always kind of where we were trying to get. But we still have a scale that matches up those numbers to a 100-point scale and then gives them a GPA and a ranking.
Usually on the back end. People see it.
Yeah, like we need that.
Yes, we see it. We see it, and it's like I don't know. It's
Okay. I'll have to go in and look because I can't see it on my kids when I log in as a parent. Yeah, I wonder why you can see it on yours.
I can. Might be high school.
Oh, I never had high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Yep. Yep, Justin?
Just very briefly, our children can see it, and they represent that as them having an A average, which is not always constructive whenever you're trying to get them to do assignments they don't want to do.
You should have one.
It
That is
sounds like
true. That's the truth.
Yeah, it sounds like doing some kind of a rundown of this would be pretty timely. So I think between the score presentation and then talking about these platforms at our next meeting, hopefully we can devote a little more time and a little more back and forth to get those questions answered. Bill?
There's a whole host of history behind grading in Power School at Windsor right now, and it needs a complete overhaul at this point. And I've brought this up at the SU meetings as well, because it is SU wide. And from my understanding, as Christine's pointed out, it is being worked on. And so that's kind of a hope. But Justin, if everyone wants to talk, or anyone wants to talk about the difference between a SIS or a LMS, I am happy to have that discussion outside of this forum, because Power School is an SIS, Google Classroom is an LMS, and so.
Oh, well, we lost Bill. Just as he was offering his expertise up. I'm sure he will be back. All right. Elizabeth.
I have a just a couple of brief announcements if we are ready to move on to another. And they are simply that next week, the 18th, the Commission on the Future of Public Education in Vermont is meeting from 9 to 11. And then the task force, the state redistricting task force is the next day from 9:30 to 3:30. It's very, very long, but they have a lot to do in a very short period of time. So, but that's, again, Monday and Tuesday of next week for those who are interested. And so, and anybody who wants to hear a synopsis of it, just reach out to me and I'll give you a couple of bullet points. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Any other public comment or announcements? Bill, did you want to wrap up your thoughts before the internet kicked you off there?
Nope. I want to have a public comment. I want to give a shout out to ABS Summer Camp from a standpoint of a community member and as a standpoint of a parent. The program is extremely well run. It is organized, constructive, and the kids have a great time. And so I want to shout out for those who organize it, those that work there, and the ABS community for supporting that. So thank you.
Are you
Thanks,
talking?
Bill.
Base camp. Okay, yes.
Any other public comments?
I also think Summer Academy is wonderful.
Mhm. I've heard wonderful things about both of those programs all summer, and I'll just add to it. It was nice to see some of our students out in the wild over the weekend. The field hockey team do the plant sale.
Oh, that was good stuff.
It was great. Laura and I picked up some plants for our garden. Yeah, it's just good to reminds me the school year is getting started again, but it's good to see everyone out and together and make our gardens a little more colorful and raising some money. So that was great. And I also wanted to give a shout out to and I regretfully, somebody can probably remind me, but I know that Amanda Clark, who is one of our SU teachers, SU staff, had Farnsworth, yes, Amanda
Yes.
Clark Farnsworth, also ran a summer program.
Imagine Arts.
Yeah, Hannah's doing it this.
Yes, no, I was looking at you because I know Hannah's doing it, but I had also heard some
Very
really
successful.
great things about that. It's great just to see the impact that our school community has.
Maddie, our elementary art teacher, is also involved in it.
Oh, nice. That's so cool. Well, yeah, it's great to see the kind of impact that our team has in the community all year round.
I send my kid to Lucy McKenzie camp.
There you go.
Don't ever do that. Because now I have a kid.
All right. So if you don't want more animals, don't send your kids to Lucy McKenzie camp. But if you do, it sounds like a great option. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess when we're doing summer camps, some of the kids in my family have gone to camps at the cartoon school and at Ava, which has been, I've heard great things about those too. We're really lucky to live in an area with so many summer options for our young learners. Any other public comment or announcements? All right. Well, thanks everyone. We will move on now to item 5, which is our administrative report. So I'll turn it over to you.
Do you want me to share? Do you want to share? Can you share? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Here we go. I'm chilly. This is pretty well come. Oh, I can't do that to me, right? Yes.
All right, we ready?
Sure.
Okay.
So we wanted to share some of the work that's been done around the buildings this summer, and this is a list of the things our custodial maintenance team has been working on. They've been doing a really great job. They do always have to work around Summer Academy, and I believe they really got a lot done this year. Big difference from last year and the year before, where we were kind of trying to manage the schedule to let Summer Academy happen and get work done, but the crew did an amazing job. We've done some replacing floors in the preschool and at Windsor. Jen, I don't know if there's anything else on here that you have, but feel free to jump in. We moved some classrooms around to better support our students to be in their grade bands, whether they're making sure all of our elementary students are together, middle school students, high school students, and their teachers. We had some window repair done. We did get to do a locker refresh in the middle school. We've been open for that one for the last few years, and we're really excited to have a new paint job on our lockers. A little more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, which is exciting. We also have some more display areas thanks to our maintenance team adding more bulletin boards in the middle school hallway for all their work to be shown. We're going to make some like a little bit cozier spaces for the entrances to the 2 entrances to the school for visitors to have a little bit of a seating area. There's some playground repair items that were done. And we definitely have the painting team here in the summer, and they take on all the rooms that need the attention. We did get to have a middle school mural group last year who brightened up the walls with 3 new murals last year. and the overall deep clean and upkeep of the building that happens every summer.
It was fun to walk in and see that shiny floor. Wow.
And that's always a maze, M-A-Z-E, not a maze, but a maze when you're trying to figure out which way to get to a room in the building because certain sections are
Yeah.
maxed at times. So you have to follow all the signs. So, yeah.
I'll just throw a quick comment. I really appreciate the entrance to the school thing. I think especially the lower entrance. And it's always felt a little bit awkward down there, and I hadn't really thought of that lack of a seating area. But you mentioning it, I think that'll be really helpful just to have some kind of space in front of there.
Anything to add for
Well, just-
building, so?
Overall, keep cleaning up the building. It's been great to have somebody there full time this summer. Really, really nice.
We're excited that we're going to be sharing a evening with families at on the bridge and here at Windsor. We're going to have time to visit classrooms, but we're going to start the evening with an information night on behavior expectations. We worked on that as a SU staff and really want to make that clear and partner with parents as we share that information. Then after we do that, we will have visits to classrooms. The 6th through 12th grade will offer a little bit more time to have a short discussion on extracurriculars and athletics as well.
Share the right screen.
So we're moving into our continuous improvement plan. These existed for a long time and then didn't for a while, and they're back. So it's kind of it's not kind of, it is our way of goal setting, looking at data results, goal setting, what are the improvements that we're looking to make in the upcoming year. Bridget really led the charge with Kate and Colleen and I going through, and she did want me to share that Windsor's has been approved. So we did get final approval. It had gone back for, they'll ask for revisions or clarifications, or a lot of documenting of how we'll do this, not just what we want to do. So, but it has been approved. So,
No doubt.
So if you got like section 2, so goals, and I hope you have these, and if you don't, we should get them to you because it's way too much to read to you or to talk about. But basically, section 2, the first goal, I think speaks volumes. But we are looking for everybody to improve. 100% of students will improve in math and in reading, becoming either approaching or becoming proficient. I think it's important to remember that sometimes growth doesn't mean you crossed into the proficient level, right? Like it's different. You may be at a place where growth doesn't mean you are still below the standard, and students are still below the standard. So I know when I look at, and you'll see our STAR results later, we were very excited at the elementary level of our growth. It isn't, that excitement isn't what I see reflected in our percentages, but the growth is there. And so in the CIP, we have to identify what we'll use to measure the growth and then who's responsible for it. So as you read across each of the goals that come to, when you look at, I guess if you go to the second, number 2, Christine, when you look at the percentages of improvement, any goal that's full school, you can roughly calculate it to, like if it says we're going to increase 6%, that's roughly 12 students. So you can double it to think about them, because to me it's about the number of students that we're looking to cross a level. And often when we dig deeper into data, it's the students that are on the or they're right for intervention to cross into proficient, or even to cross into just another benchmark and show growth. So so where we have approximately 500 students, so where it says we'll increase from 54 to 60, that's 6%. That would be about 12 students that we see have the opportunity. And obviously we want higher than that. An important factor on the CIP is who's responsible, and what are the programs or the resources that we have in our budget that will help us do that. So you see people who are responsible, but then you also see programs or trainings that we'll complete in order to try to show, in order to achieve that growth. In reading, most of our, this feels, I'm going to be redundant from our report, right? Our data report, right? They feel the same, start data is the same. So, in math, yeah. The ELA or the reading goals that we have will all stem, on the elementary side, they'll stem from early literacy, right? The Act 139 work that we'll do, because we have to start with the most foundational students in the most foundational reading system. So, and those hopefully transfer up as students go up through grade levels. So you'll see a lot of focus on DIBELS as an assessment that we'll give to try to target the instruction that's missing for students in reading. For Windsor at the elementary school, we're looking for, we're working with a new, it's called Number Corner. It's a program that is a spiral review type of program that, because one of the things I think I've noticed and we've talked about is students get far away from something after they've learned it, right? If it doesn't come back, it may not really be there. So we are piloting the Number Corner component in Windsor, K through 5, hoping to see changes in that.
By spiral reviews, that so there's maintenance, there's skill maintenance built into skill acquisition work.
Yes, and yeah, looking for it to come, like at times to refresh or to bring that back to the students. So this is like Number Corner is a 15 to 20 minute lesson that involves student observations in math, asking them to do work with time, money, all those basic skills that really often aren't deep in problem solving programs that we use. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I think that work will only help support the kids as they go. Changes this fast. There's an equity goal in here as well, closing the gap, and we'll use EduClimber to try to monitor all of those. EduClimber training is something we're building into staff presentations or PD days or staff meetings to make sure that the staff are using. And then it's also come up about, Power School, that making sure that that can transfer over to EduClimber so that students and teachers can access that as well. Culture models. Power School is addressed and the behavior is addressed as a goal 5 and safe and healthy schools goal. And that really goes to the presentations that we've been talking about, the work we've been doing with behavior, the matrix work that we've all done this summer, and we're going to, we already have a plan to roll that out to staff. What's their responsibility in that matrix as well. And then there's a goal for seniors about college and career readiness and an equity goal. So it's a lot to digest.
These will be on the website.
It'll be on the website.
Just one request, just for a little bit of accessibility. Would it be possible what were the whole child, whole
School whole community.
Yeah.
WSCC.
Yeah, is it possible to link that from there, just so folks can see that? Yeah.
Link the
Just where this is posted, just maybe having a link to that.
to WSCC.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a link to WSCC. Whole school, whole child, whole school, whole child, whole community. That's a team that meets.
Oh, okay.
So they and they met throughout the year, and when Bridget was doing the data inventory, what really stood out was we have some significant chronic absenteeism.
Okay.
It's a national problem. I've been reading articles about it. It's been exacerbated by the pandemic. So that team really asked that we, as our culture and wellness goal, could focus on chronic absenteeism. So we have a plan for that. We have Katie Burke, who's the kind of leads that group. she, they decided to use some EPSDT money, which is generated by nurses and school counselors. They get to decide how to use it, to try, we've engaged 3 school engagement coaches. So it's a proactive, these are people that are really going to focus across the SU. They're going to focus on those kids that are, you know, not chronic yet, but getting close, and put preventative strategies in place to help work with those families to help kids get to school and figure out why they're not coming to school. So I don't know what, I mean, I'm not sure what to link, I guess is.
Yeah, I think it's just referencing whole school, community, whole child objectives without the detail of what those objectives are. I think that's where I just wanted to make sure we were directing people towards those if they have questions.
Okay.
Maybe
So you look at the national website of Cook School?
There is, I believe.
yeah, I mean, just if there's some resource that connects to the objectives of the group, I think that'd be helpful for those looking at it. I think everything else is either contained on our in our resources or accessible. As a newer work. So.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to here. And this is ABS's continuous improvement plan, which
I can easily walk through.
is pretty similar.
Pretty similar. I think the basic goals are the same.
Yeah.
The numbers are slightly different because we're at different, right? We start at a different place. I think things that Tracy brought up that were really important to think about is that we start with where the students are and where we want them to be based on their basic age range, right, and capacity. And then we've identified curricula that we want to use that, particularly ELA components and the math components. Evaluate those based on the data we're getting back. We'll share some data with you in just a minute. Then it's about teachers teaching with education, universal design for learning, and then from there, their own coaching. We've got some coaching in place across the schools this year coming up, and instructional team leaders that are going to really be able to, I think, be thought partners with our teachers so they're not isolated in the process. And then there's intervention when what they're doing isn't working for a couple of kids, why is it not working? And that gets into, is there a learning difference for them that we need to address in a different way? Collaboration amongst teachers is something that looks like we're off to a really good start with this year, which is exciting because we learn quite well from each other, much better than usually do or with our own programs. That's really that just building up the system. So we're in the same place. We're looking at our math data, we're looking at our early literacy data, our general literacy data, and then our culture data. So we're in the same boat. I mean, we're all doing the same basic work. It's just we have slightly different numbers for different things.
And some of that, when we were looking at our measured results assessment, which the kids take, the students take in grades 4 through 12, they identified, I think I just saw trusted adult in there. So we're focusing on, I mean, that was an area where they felt like we need to work on. Every student doesn't feel like they have a trusted adult in the building. And so that's something that's really important. Everybody needs somebody. So that's part of the, when we were writing our goals, that came into play. So listening to the students and hearing what they want as well. So, all right, let me get back here. And this one. Okay. There we go.
There we go. So,
Those are right from this continuous improvement plan. They're
Yeah.
saying, So
WIGs are just wildly important goals, and they came straight out of the continuous improvement plan. It just gives you those percentages that I was talking about to calculate the number of students we're really targeting. Yeah. That is there. The next slide is a whole school reading going on. Yep. Oh, is it tired? Is the computer about it slow? Whole school reading. This is kindergarten through 10th grade. So the data it's real, it's the results, but it's also an enormous span. When you look at these graphs, in the ideal situation, we want to decrease red, right? We want to decrease the red. Those are students who are below the standard significantly or below, and increase the green, which would be meeting proficiency or exceeding proficiency. And as a whole school, we're staying a little level, then that's not what we want to happen. But if we go a little deeper, we have to start with our youngest readers, especially where we're shifting to the science of reading. So kindergarten through 2nd grade is where we see like that red, we have decreased the red. More emphasis on those foundational reading skills, teachers shifting the way that they approach the teaching of reading. So these show good, some good results. We always would want more, but we do see its improvement. No, that's fine. When we go 2nd to 5th, we don't see that same shift, right? These are students who have not had that foundational reading, explicit instruction. We need to shift that to, we can't just let them go and get it. We have to shift that to our 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade students to help them fill in those gaps. So we have work to do, absolutely have work to do there. And I think the work that the K2 will be doing this year during professional development and the support of the instructional team leaders will be huge in helping us close those and hopefully have more students become
That's a good question. Is the 2nd grade counted in both?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This is the early literacy.
I actually think this is a 3-5.
So it depends on what they take.
It depends on whether they took early literacy or if they took.
Oh, okay.
So that's the
Thank you.
average there.
With the 6 and 8, we happy to see that we are moving further into green between spring and winter, somewhere between 58 and 62%. That are above our benchmark. So we did not have a lot of ELA intervention last year, but this year we did get really higher on our team, and we will be more of that time to our student schedule. So that's really exciting.
Grade 9 is on there, and we are working next year to have them all take STAR. I think we're just up 3 times.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that this year. So we're working on that for next year. We also have opened up another intervention spot. Theo, who came over as a special ed interventionist, has now been hired as part-time social studies in the high school and part-time regular ed, or he'll just be an interventionist. So he doesn't have to see all children, and he'll be located in the classroom. And we're having a meeting on Thursday, Bridget, myself, and Jen to kind of direct. Now we have a lot of resources. We have the hub with Katie and Davini, and now we have Theo who have his classroom. So we're having a meeting to best place the kids to get what they need to work on both classwork and lagging skills. In the 10th grade, I wasn't sure if the 10th grade was on here because we didn't take it in the spring in the 10th grade because we gave the 10th graders PSATs. Next year, we're going to take it again in the spring, and we're also going to take work on making the PSAT results more public rather than something that just goes to the home. See what we can share with you from that.
Elizabeth?
Thanks. I'm keeping my camera off because I just got a weak signal alert. But I don't know whether anybody has said anything about the drop-in scores between winter and spring, and whether when you conducted testing this fall, if you could keep the winter from 2024 up in that data report out, I'd really appreciate it, because I don't really understand why there. Some of the drops have been more than a few points. So do you have a way to account for that? Is it just the rigor of the curriculum, or is there something else going on that we could be looking at?
I think it's important to know that the benchmarks change, right? Fall to winter to spring. It's very common for for there to appear to be significant growth between fall and winter, because we're picking up that summer lag, right? So in our winter results, we get honestly, we get a little benefit of the summer lag, right? Because it looks like this significant growth. And then in the spring, as the test adjusts in difficulty, it's very common, if you look around, to see slight dropbacks in spring scores. But I do agree with you that measuring spring to spring, winter to winter, fall to fall is a better benchmark of how are our students doing at that time. And I think we should be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that relates some of that confusion, because I think what you're saying is because the benchmark moves in those tests, what can look like a lack of progress can be maybe a lack of rate of progress where we want it, but there still is progress happening.
Right.
But that's not really apparent when the data is being presented. So yeah, I think year to year comparisons would be good.
I would also, I really would love to see not just a cluster of grades, but lateral progress. So a student who's in 4th grade, how are they doing in 5th or 6th grade? And not that you can do individual students, but
Look at cohorts. So we could look at cohorts.
If you could give us that data as well, that would be really helpful.
Bill?
So STAR data is really specific here. STAR data is normed on age. It's not normed on grade level. And so the students are compared to based upon the day. It's even the benchmark, the cut scores change even within a week. They're not significant, but if you're talking, a student who takes it 2 weeks late, they're going to have a different cut score than a student who takes the test 2 weeks earlier. Plus, it really depends on what their age is. A student who is 3 months older than a student who is 3 months younger will have a different cut score. And so, one of the issues, especially when looking at different grade levels, 5th grade in particular, as well as 6th grade. 5th grade in particular, what happens is that as they get near the end, the curriculum expectations, the type of stuff that they're doing and being measured against in difficulty and cognitive ability raises significantly. And so I think
Bill,
one of the issues is when getting down into wanting to look into the nitty gritty, you're not going to get a lot more information than looking at things generally, because the specifics of how this program works is pretty complicated. Elizabeth?
I really appreciate that explanation, and I feel like you give it every year, and I thank you for your patience in reiterating it every year. But it would be really helpful if we could have an explanation like that at the beginning of a presentation like this. And also at the beginning, like a slide in the beginning, so that people who are not watching the presentation but just looking at the data can have a better context for it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, my guess is also there's not very few people who actually have read the statistic report on how STAR is. And I happen to have read that. And so, because I was tasked with it. But yeah, so you're welcome, Elizabeth.
Okay, yeah, agreed. It's good. Thanks for that, Bill, and I think it's a good suggestion, Elizabeth.
So school-wide math, again, we're looking at kindergarten through 10th grade. It does show a slight decrease, but I think it's better when we break down into clusters. So can we go to the K2?
Increase. No. So decrease. Oh, in red.
We decreased that.
Okay, green.
First and second grade, a slight decrease in red, a slight increase, not enough. But then that's part of our focus of the work that we're doing this year is to try to, and Bridget was really helpful in her former role of bringing to our MTSS meetings this idea of spiral review, which we carried across all the grade levels. And it really led to this place where the elementary is going to start this year. So hoping to report some great growth there. Again, same with our ELA. We're not seeing it in 3rd through 5th grade. I'm very excited about our instructional team leader and how weekly MTSS meetings to be able to dive into data, to look at classroom practices and consistency of curriculum and presentation. I'm really excited to see how that will help us give the best instruction, the most purposeful content, and how she can help cipher some of that out for our teachers and work with them. So.
We were excited to use the spiral review last year with the 6th through 10th grade math teachers. And that was something, again, Bridget Farrell supported the team with and planned for. And we had more staff available to do that spiral review with our students last year. And when we started last year, our math scores were lower. So we were really excited to see this jump, and we account a lot of it for the spiral review.
Excellent.
That's great.
This is where we targeted in our continuous improvement plan, our equity piece, to close the gap between free and reduced scores of free and reduced lunch and the scores of students with IEPs. You can see that the red is decreasing, but not, again, at the rate that we want it to.
So the left is free and reduced students on free and reduced, and the right is not free and reduced. So you can see there's a significant gap.
The same, it looks very similar in this next slide. That's whole school. Yeah, it's whole school starts. So this is all school math. And let's just go through them. With students on the IEP.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's a big,
Wow.
right.
I think this speaks to our interventionists too, right?
Yeah.
And the increase in intervention that we're having again this year is really exciting when we see what those services can do to help.
And the crossover we did between middle school and high school, right? And we really worked on math this year with that crossover in middle school and high school and trying to get up with skills.
So this is just generally on IEP, not a specific subject.
Correct. And the IEP.
That's wonderful.
That's the early.
So that's early.
Yeah, but the last one was, what was the last one?
Math.
That was free and
That
reduced.
was free and reduced lunch.
Okay.
And this is students on IEP early literacy, so K.
Oh, there's the
K1.
little. Okay, that's that.
Yeah.
Good.
And then this is everybody, right?
Yeah, this is everyone on an IEP, looking and star reading it, but we're pretty flat there. Wow, yeah.
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 Same thing for math. I know at the elementary level, some of the things we've talked about We've even started to, Kate and I have both shifted some resources to the middle school to try to like make sure we have interventionists placed and, for behavior or for intervention or in across the school and not just focusing on the elementary side. And also, our interventionists, this year we're sharing a special educator, trying to help 4th, 5th, and 6th, trying to get students to bridge with their, with a special educator for consistency. So,
We also moved the location of the classroom. Previously, our ACE classroom kind of held together all middle school and high school students. And it was partly there's one section on the elementary side and one section on the middle school side. And we separated it at Amanda's recommendation. And the high school is located right on the high school side now. And the middle school is located right on part of the middle school. And we were able to tell parents that in our end of the year meetings. Amanda always shared that news. And 2 of the high school parents cried because they were so happy.
And we had another staff member, DST, here,
Yes.
did we not? Yeah.
We did have
That's
a
awesome.
school teacher.
That's great.
What percentage of students are on IEPs? We know?
Across the SU,
Yeah, no, just us.
it's almost 30%.
Almost 30%.
30, okay.
Okay, shift to ABS, just where you're ready.
So now we're just looking at the data. School-wide, which is, right, all our kids. And, I don't know if we included early literacy with this one. If not, it's probably generally your high-flying 1st graders through your 6th graders. So winter to spring, we see a decrease in those who are achieving above benchmark. We're small numbers, so we can probably talk about 2 kids. That early literacy, I think much like, once we talk about those interventions at those early ages make a big difference. And one of our goals is to continue to see that growth. One of the things we were able to do at ABS last year is actually introduce a multi-age teacher to support a multi-age classrooms, not full-time position. But it does allow for our interventionists then to support not primarily multi-age teaching as a critical position, but to really look at intervention. And she did a lot of focus on particularly the birth grades last year. You'll see that. So reading, you'll see, again, a drop, that winter to spring drop. Good question. I think Elizabeth asks what is going on there. I don't know that we have a good answer, but we see a strong jump from fall to winter scores, and now we see a winter to spring score that drops a little bit. Go to the math. We did a little bit of growth. We're still looking at, 50% of our kids not meeting expectations. That's a real challenge that we're trying to address across the board. I think in that, but my school, I know particularly we're trying to figure out what's going on with our kiddos. So younger grades, we're looking at even fewer, starting out with basic literacy skills. And I think the hopeful prayer is looking at the next slide and the 3 through 6 slide, see some growth. So while maybe they don't come to us with a lot of early math skills, they are growing as we're getting through the process. I think as some of this, I really attribute this past year to having a multi-age teacher take math groups, specifically to be able to break kids into what they need, not where the curriculum says everybody should be. So then we're going to go to our fully reduced. We're looking at as you're looking at it left side, this is our early literacy scores. So we've got kids, we know that kids in younger grades, if you're not reading at home, it shows up early in education. And so our goal is to bridge that gap. And it looks like last year we were able to make some progress there. So you can compare like the free-reduced lunch in the left and the free-reduced in the right. And then the next one, which is the slightly older kids, usually 2nd grade through 6th grade. So they start right in their reading, again, pretty low, right? We're still got this big old gap to cover. It's an equity issue. We know it. We know it has nothing to do with the childhood, the capacity. It has to do with what they come in with and how do we support our communities to make sure that our kids are ready for school. It's a big part of the conversation. And what do we do once things show up? And then how do we help them bridge that gap? Because we know they can, they just need the supports to do that. Again, you'll see a similar thing right with the map. When you're coming in with a deficit of a home that is having stress, as well as resources, access to summer programs, all of that stuff, food insecurities, takes a toll, right? It takes a toll, and so we see it, and so the question is now what do we do? And I know we put stuff in place to try and help our kids, help our families. Clearly it's not, we're not meeting all of our kids the way that they need to be met. We're not making all of the and then the next one is about students with significant disabilities that got them on an IEP, which until a couple of years ago was really about they had to be 2 years behind their peers in general, right? That was the rule previous. So a lot of kids come in significantly challenged. So early literacy, this shows the impact of early intervention, I think. When you catch kids early and provide really good, high quality instruction in their classroom and with highly skilled special education teams and intervention teams, kids can grow. Wow. So here's, if you go to the next one, so this is starting, these are kids who are a little older, right? So our brains when it's malleable, there's a lot more, you've got it, larger gaps you have to cover basically, right? So if you're a fifth grader reading at a second grade level, you've got a lot more to cover than a kindergartner reading at a pre-K level. So we haven't met that need yet. I know that we've got a team trying to figure out how to support these kids and support the teachers to support them. So the next one is not math. So similar basic thing is we're not meeting their needs. We're just not able to bridge the gap for them. They have learning differences. We've got really skilled teachers who are responding there. So the question is why? What are we missing? What can we do? What's within our capacity? And what do we need to change? And I think we talk about equity a lot, and students who have learning differences, people who have learning differences, people who come from socioeconomic differences. We don't see demographics here around the least or other, right, or targeted groups too. You'll also see someone with deficits. It's not unusual across our country to see these large gaps. And I think one of our jobs as public educators is to figure out how to close the gap. And it's not an easy answer, and there's not a one size fits all. I think this is what we call teamwork. And I think I really appreciate being in a community that cares about this stuff. At the same time, these numbers, these are human beings that are not able to read or not able to do basic math at the level that their peers are. And that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. It's going to affect them to do something. Sorry. I had a hard conversation with my daughter earlier. So it's just with me because she's also a kid with special needs. I think as we walk forward, what I'm really grateful for is that everybody around these tables in our schools, I feel like it's such a hopeful feel. And yet, we've got kids every day who are not meeting goals. And so that's the work we have in front of us. I think that's the most important work we have. Thank you guys for your support to do that.
Thank you.
Did you want to talk? You already talked about high school. Okay. All right, so I'll shift into my report. As you heard earlier, Summer Academy was a great success again. We had about 88 students who signed up, and our average attendance, as you can see, some kids are on vacation or doing different camps, so we averaged about, shy of 80% attendance for the 4 weeks. It went swimmingly. We didn't have any major issues. As you know, Katie was not here to run it this year, but the principals stepped up. Everybody did a week as the administrator on duty, and Alyssa McDermott, who's a school counselor in Heartland, who's kind of helped run it for the past few years. She was kind of the lead in the office every day, and she was very proud at the end. She said, I was a little nervous, but it went really well. So
It was nice to see you at the door practically every.
yeah, I try to be there every day, and it's the highlight of my day, just greeting the kids and having them come in.
Elizabeth?
Thanks. Was Summer Academy this year paired again with Windsor Rec?
It was, what do you mean paired, Elizabeth?
I think in years past, some of the kids who were at Summer Academy could then transition straight into the Windsor Rec
yes,
summer program.
Yes, that still happened. We also had Bridging the Gap here at the same time, and some of the kids I noticed would come from Bridging the Gap. They got dropped off earlier, and they would Emily Fielder would walk them over and say, "You're going to Summer Academy now," and then transition after back to BTG. So yes,
I just wondered, how was the drowning handled in Summer Academy? Or was it?
Started yet?
It hasn't started yet.
Okay.
Right.
No, because it was.
No,
the
for
first-
now.
No, it hadn't started yet. I don't.
BTG was in
BTG
session,
was in
but
session.
not Summer Academy.
And I know that they had they were not present when the drowning happened. They were headed up, I believe, and then stopped, so they weren't there.
Right.
Okay.
I know that they weren't there. I just wondered how they dealt with it. I mean,
I know.
just because they weren't there doesn't mean they weren't affected by it. But
Yeah, absolutely. Carrie, who's the director, she had communication with parents. I sent out communication to families in the community and offered support. I had we had one or two families that took us up on that. We had a local therapist who offered to provide services free of charge to any students that needed that. We had one take advantage of that. So yeah, very tragic incident. I think it shook all of us.
Yeah.
Pretty scary, and makes you want to ensure that all students learn how to swim.
Yep.
Right. That's critical.
yeah, it also it's timing with the Grace Camp flooding in Texas, because it was right at the very same time. Our family was impacted by it, and we weren't all even here. So I just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
I just want to throw out there too, I appreciate it because I talked to Christine shortly after that, and I really appreciate how quickly those resources came together and how, even with school not being in session, how comprehensive that response was. So
Yeah.
very appreciative. There's no perfect way to deal with that kind of situation, but I think the effort really speaks volumes.
No, I think, it rocked a lot of people.
Yeah. James has already reached out about us incorporating, because we already incorporated swimming into our winter activities. He reached out, his certified swim instructor, saying he would like to be involved in that this year, and he wants to achieve the goal that every kid in Windsor can swim by the time they're out of, I think he said second grade, he thinks he could do it.
Absolutely. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Used to be part of PE class.
It was my PE class, since PE, we had
I'll
to take
take it, yeah, so.
and ice skating. Yeah.
All right, moving on, just a couple of highlights from the summer. We were able to hold a responsive classroom training this year. Staff have been asking for it. It's an amazing training. I took it when I was a teacher a long time ago. So we were able to use some carryover title money to bring it here, and we had 30 people attend across the SU, 28 K-5 teachers and interventionists, and 2 central office staff. And they'll have some continued consulting during the year with that that coach from Responsive Classroom. So that Responsive Classroom is a structure that really helps with making sure expectations are clear and how to handle things when students are not meeting expectations. So it was a great training for for staff. For leadership, we did have a 7 Habits regional training was held here. We had 5 of our new staff choose to attend. We had we'll have an additional 7 Habits training August 14th this week with our district coaches who are Brian Martez, Michael Schaefer, and Tracy Thompson. They're district coaches for us now. We've moved to that model because we want to make sure that we are making, we are using Leader and Me, the parts and pieces that make the most sense to us in the ways that make the most sense to us. So it's great to have district coaches helping with that. They're meeting with the Lighthouse leadership teams tomorrow at 8 a.m. So exciting. Everything's getting going.
That time of year.
It's that time of year. Curriculum materials, I know in the past, it hasn't seemed as organized, but I have to just shout out Bridget and Wendy and the principals and the admin assistants. Wendy actually inventoried, I don't know if you all remember the boxes that used to sit in this room when you came in for meetings, but she inventoried everything we had on hand before we placed our order this year so that we could use what we had and not purchase more, which is we're the fiscally and environmentally responsible. And the deliveries have come in. Bridget and Wendy have made sure everybody has what they need. And so teachers are, set up for success, which is really important. It's nothing worse than starting the year without the materials that you need to teach. So we're very happy about that. Administrative team has been hard at work all summer. I think we've met more this summer than we have any other summer. But it's been really good work. We've had 4 full days together. And other times, but really focused work. We've updated the behavior matrix, and we're calling it a behavior handbook. So that's updated and ready to go. We created behavior expectation presentations for students, staff, and communities. You saw earlier there'll be a presentation here September 3rd and ABS, I think 26th or 24th of September. So that feels really good. It's really important to be clear about expectations and with everybody having an understanding of what those are and how to respond to them. We have Wednesday, we're having an administrator and designated employee HHB training. The staff will have an HHB training when they come back in a week or so. We can have so that work has been underway all summer. We've updated handbooks. We've worked on our welcome back presentation, and we've been doing some systems work around chronic absenteeism and scheduling and all of those types of things. So busy, but we feel ready to start the year.
Elizabeth?
Thanks. Of course, I'm going to ask about HHB. Who is conducting the training, and is it mandatory for everybody?
The training on Wednesday is not mandatory for everybody because people are still not back. Most of the designated employees are going to make it. There are a couple that are away. The training at the beginning of the year, yes, it's all staff. It's Tracy Price is organizing it. She is, it will be Heather Lynn will do the training for staff.
Okay, thank you.
Go over the process and procedures and make sure everybody knows what the policy and the law states. Hoping the new policy is approved. I don't know, Elizabeth, if you have any inside information on that.
I do. There's a meeting. There's another meeting for it at the end of, I believe, at the end of this month.
Okay, we're hopeful that it will be in play.
They did just to recap what's happened with that task force or council or whatever they call it. Big Hartman submitted a very long, very detailed letter critiquing the proposed update to it from the AOE, which apparently the task force or commission or council or whatever, they were only convened to take a look at the proposed updates, recall, if you will, that the proposed updates were, the public was asked to comment on them.
Yes.
Big Hartman did a very long comment on it with lots of very significant and valid critiques. It was originally, the timeline was for it to be rolled out in June and implemented in districts this school year. Big asked for that to be slowed down to next year so that there could be ample input from members of the public, including families. And so I think they're going to continue to take comment until January, actually, and then incorporate all of that.
Great. Do you know, did they get a lot of feedback?
They did, actually, but the feedback was at their last meeting, I believe in June or July. The feedback was continuing to roll in, and the request for feedback came only from the AOE, so it didn't extend out to families in a way that everybody on the council was comfortable with. And so they're going to, at the beginning of the school year, I believe they're going to make another try to, because the request for feedback was kind of haphazard.
And it came late. I mean, I sent it out.
It was on a very short time frame.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a reasonable expectation that they would receive
Right.
actual substantive feedback.
Okay.
What they received was they received a lot of feedback, but not much of it was substantive. And so they're going to try a different approach this fall with families.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Oh, that's the end of the admin report.
Thank you all. All right. So we are on to item 6. You're on to item 6, which is items for discussion, followed by motions if needed. So 6A, we have SU budget representative. So we need to,
We're gonna, start the SU budget. As you know, Larry starts in September, October. So we would love to have a representative from study to the board.
all right. Elizabeth, I see your hand.
I did it last year and I really enjoyed it, actually. So if nobody else would like to do it, I am glad to do it again, but only until January.
We should be done by then.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to be the SU budget representative?
Elizabeth did a great job. She did, so.
Yeah, Elizabeth, if you are willing to do it again, I think, based on the responses from the rest of the board, I think that would, that'd be great. And do we need to vote on that, or is that just
I don't think so.
okay?
Unless you want to.
If we don't need to, yeah, fine. Okay, and then item B is music position at Albert Bridge School. I think Jen, you were gonna.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep you guys just kind of posted about where we are with this, just so you guys are to know. We currently have a person who signed the 0.4 contract who was with us last year. Due to personal reasons, they have asked to be reduced to a 0.2. At this point, we're looking to agree to that, repost for the 0.2. In the interim, try and find an internal option. Certainly I can cover until we find somebody as a certified licensed music teacher, but there may be some other options within our supervisory union. Or we may find somebody else, but just want to make sure you guys are kept in the loop, because if we don't fill the gap, can't fill it with a teacher, it could look like first having
A reduction in force.
consideration.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
we're not trying to do. And the union's informed, they're on board.
Awesome.
So,
I appreciate the update.
That's a bummer, Jennifer. I'm sorry.
It is, and yet, I'm a big believer that opportunities happen for us, and so you never know where this is going.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. And thank you for extending your music expertise and helping the public out in the meantime.
Love to
There we
teach.
go. All right. Any other questions for Jen on that? Or are we all feeling pretty good? Okay. Well, we are all ready to item 7, which is setting the next agenda. So I think, based on the questions about Google Classroom Power School, if we put that on our next agenda, I think that's timely in September too. Excuse me. So we can do that. Any other kind of standing stuff coming up for next meeting? Anything on the radar?
Just a reminder that we're meeting on September 8th, which is the second Monday, because the first Monday is the holiday.
Yep.
We're going to be at ABS.
Mhm.
We've had on here an update on the start of school. Well, school have started.
Yep.
And then I have a note on here, which is one of your goals. I don't know how we're going to do this. We're going to discuss how to get staff input on topics for upcoming events, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
Staff input on topics for discussion and upcoming events.
Yep, staff input. Any staff input.
For discussion, yeah.
All right, and then, all right, anything else for next agenda? Is that what we're looking at?
So Power School and Google Classroom.
Yep.
Okay.
Elizabeth?
Thanks, Davis. I just want to be absolutely sure that, speaking of HHB, that we addressed everything that those parents who came to a couple of meetings were talking about. And so if not, if we could put that back on the agenda and advertise it well, I would really like that. Thank you.
I think that's a really good idea. And that will ostensibly be after, was it 9/3 is at least the Windsor School Welcome Back and Behavior Expectations meeting. So we'll have some time for community contact with Behavior Handbook and then is the ABS one is on the 24th?
Yeah, it's on our open house day.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little,
So we do the county, we're doing an open house.
Yep.
afterwards. We're doing the presentation.
okay.
We felt we'd get more participation.
No, I mean, that's what we want. So I totally understand that. So we'll have at least one of our buildings will have, we'll have had some contact with that, which is good. And it'll be accessible to everyone, just so wanted to present it. But yeah, no, I think we should put that on the agenda.
Do you want under administrative report or items for discussion?
Let's. I don't know. Elizabeth, do you have a thought on that?
Oh, I was just going to say, but I think it might be better at the supervisory union level. Like maybe an update on where all of this redistricting stuff is going and what it means for us.
Yeah, I think
that's a major item for the retreat.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, it is. We
Well,
talked about-
And I just mean as far as where the task force is right now, what the timeline is, just have a description, and I can do that also at the SU retreat if you'd like. What the timeline is for the rollout of things like the building attendance minimums and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we need
I've
to
got
think
one. I've got a summary ready. Bill, I sent you a draft if you want to take a look at it. Two presentations. Elizabeth, I'm happy to share it with you, and you can offer feedback and check my facts. It would be great if you don't mind before the retreat.
No, of course I don't. Of course I don't mind. Of course
Okay,
not.
that would be great. I'll send that to you.
Yeah.
Because I would love your input. It's a lot, so.
Yep.
And a lot of unknowns still.
It's a
I
lot,
think-
but also I think it's important to understand that not everything has an equal weight. Like not all of that is everything is not as important as everything else. A lot of changes. I see you laughing, Amy. Um, but some of the changes may or may not take place.
Right.
So I'd love a chance to kind of give a legislative perspective on it.
Perfect. I will send it to you and you can add to it and deliver it if you'd like. I'd be happy for you to do that.
Yeah, I think just in general, well, that's kind of being digested and we start moving from
Yeah.
legislation to implementation, just having that be a regular kind of feature, keeping everyone updated. You know, with your help, definitely Elizabeth, making sure it's as palatable as possible to us and to the community, because I mean, it is very big and very complicated. And to your point, the things that are written out do not all have the same weight, and as they translate from legislation to implementation, a lot does change.
And also, I think Christine, I think it would be a good idea for every local board to have, or district board to have a presentation on it, because the public's not going to see the SU board retreat.
That's good. That's a great idea.
Yeah, the more we can get it out.
And if I can, if there's any that I can help with, please let me know. I'm glad to.
Yeah, I was at a meeting recently where they were reporting, it's a daily meeting, you know, the part of it is, smaller part of it is graduation requirements. And the comment was, I think they're due by this January and to the legislature, and they're going to push for another year because they need more time to get input from the community and teachers and students.
Absolutely.
And, so it'll be a moving, I think timelines might change as well. So, but yes.
On the other hand, the governor of Vermont asked the redistricting task force to withdraw their request for data and just move forward without it. Yep, he did it in a press conference last week.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
How do they do that?
We're going to do it based on vibes.
It's based on the capacity of the Agency of Education, which currently has a hiring freeze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, okay, well, that's good to know. So, yeah, I'll put that on the local budget agendas, and we'll talk about it next week at the retreat. And then we'll come back and review how our behavior HHP presentations went with staff, students, and parents.
Yep, and I think that will, but yeah, I appreciate bringing up before we lose the thread. I know one thing that when we have this couple meetings that we want to do is just make sure we have a more regular district level data reporting, or at least just some kind of, so I think that'll kind of set the stage for as we go into our monthly meetings throughout the school year. I know September we're not going to have anything, but you know, I think just setting that stage and having that be a more regular feature in our monthly agendas.
We've got it on our plan when we do a data report. There'll be a behavior data report as well.
Excellent. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anything else for setting the next agenda? Right. And before we move past that, one thing that, and actually this kind of fits in setting next agenda, one thing we were going to do is in every agenda, make sure that we had something to send to the Windsor Select Board, Windsor and West Windsor Select Board, I would say, for events. That wasn't SU level, though. That was at our
goals were to formalize a communication plan for working with town officials, review the upcoming monthly events, and invite select board members to school events.
Yeah, so I think those open houses would probably fit that bill.
That flyer can go to the select board. Now, how do we have a liaison from the board that's going to
I'm happy to be the person that does that. Okay. So if you can just send that flyer to me, and I'll write something up and send that to the Windsor and West Windsor Select Board.
Okay. Does anybody want to do that, or do you want me to do it? Okay.
Awesome.
Where is the retreat next week?
We, Bill and I chatted earlier about taking it off site. So we do have the Windsor Welcome Center available if that's agreeable. What do you think, Bill? Windsor Welcome Center next Monday for the retreat. Is that okay?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you're not like in the screen, you're not looking at me through your camera. You're like, okay, you're looking at me there. I'm like, that's fine with me. Yeah. I think that's more comfortable then.
Okay, I will, Bill, maybe we can touch base tomorrow. You have time?
On the other side.
Sure.
Quick call sometime during the day?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And we'll get to guys the agendas.
All right, so I think with that, we are through with the setting next agenda. Item 8, proposed executive session. No need. Cool. And that brings us to 9, which is adjournment. So I will take a voice vote to adjourn this meeting at 7:59. Oh, we just turned 8 o'clock p.m. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? No, okay. We are adjourning at 8 p.m. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.